Hungili Krakauer, and welcome to ArtSpy. Today I have 3 guests, and these 3 guests are here to share with you and unravel the mysteries and the pleasures of knitting. With me is Robin, Nancy, Dominic, and Nonna Maria. Thank you for coming today. I love that you brought your knitting and your crocheting, and today's episode is called Hooked, because we're all hooked on knitting and crocheting. Robin, could you tell us what that is?
This is actually a swatch I'm making to help me figure out a piece that I'll be installing in Dallas, Texas in February, the end of February. And my idea for the piece is, since the theme of the exhibition is called Gestures of Resistance, about how the act of doing something that's very slow, like knitting, can be actually a political statement, a resistance to the contemporary culture that's all about speed. So, but we're in Dallas, which is, to me, brings up images of oil and cars and sprawl. So I thought, as my act of resistance to that, I would actually knit a stripe for the road, the highway, and I'm hoping to knit actually a mile of stripe, and that I will actually install on the highway in Dallas and see what happens to it.
That is so cool. Nancy, what are you making?
Well, I'm knitting here what I think will be a year's worth of plastic. It's like a political act. I just want to see what a year's worth of plastic would be if one person's usage. All the plastic garbage bags we get, all the plastic sealers from our new electronics, and I think we don't see all this plastic.
When you knit the plastic, do you tie it together? How do you?
I do. I tie it together. Yes, and some plastic is softer to use than others. Some is more resistant. This is actually some pretty soft plastic. It's easy to use.
Can you tell us what that is?
Yeah, this is actually a smaller version of a piece I called Unwrapping Lazarus. It was the original piece is 32 feet long and 12 inches wide. And I used it, excuse me, in a performance art piece. I asked people ahead of time to write a reflection about themselves, how they themselves have been unwrapped using the Gospel of John, how they are like Lazarus, who has unwrapped them. And people have, you know, written some very nice things about that. And then at the end, I get wrapped in this 32.
You get wrapped?
I get wrapped for 32 feet of, you know, knitted shroud. And I stand there, you know, in the dark for about 30 long seconds of my life. And then the music cues and everybody unwraps me very slowly. And then we each take a piece of this shroud and we run around like maniacs. And then we meet in the circle and we dump our shrouds down, and that's the end of it. And it's a very effective piece. It's like a working piece of art still. It's not something that I would consider selling.
Sounds very personal.
It is.
And the title of the show is Hooked, because we are in some way, shape, or form all very obsessed and in love with this art form. Dominic and Nonna have a very unique working relationship. Can you tell us about that?
Well, my grandmother comes from a very traditional southern town in Italy, and there they basically grew the plants needed to produce, for example, in this case, hemp, to produce the wool or the bed sheets that it would sleep in. And I was just fascinated with the, basically from root to finished product. So, and I tried to make that kind of contemporary by her knitting things that she would necessarily not knit. For example, right now she's knitting a sock, but not necessarily a sock that you put on your feet, a kind of like let's just say condom kind of thing. It would look like this when she's done with it. So,
and that recently appeared in one of the Queens Council Project Diversity Queens exhibitions at the Rapetti Gallery in Long Island City. And I believe there's an image that our viewers can see. Perhaps you could talk about that.
Well, I found this 25-cent gumbo machine dispenser, and I painted it hot pink, and I had my grandmother knit a bunch of these small condoms here, or crochet really, and then she came up with the idea, why don't we just cover the whole thing with a big condom? So I thought that was a great idea. She did an awesome job with it. Even I remember at the opening, she came to the piece and she kind of fixed the little, I guess.
I put a quarter in there. I tried to get one out. I couldn't get one out.
Yeah.
I tell you, it didn't happen there. Yeah, so it was really cute. I have pictures of that as well. Yeah, that was a fun project. Yeah, and I guess this came from, just seeing her knit so many things in the past. Just the flexibility that you have that source to do such a thing. And she's knit, numerous blankets, and she actually has knit socks for me. I could show you a sock if I have it on. Should I? It's okay? Yeah?
Can you pick up your leg?
Yeah, I can pick up my leg. Take off my shoe too. Look at this.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Is this nice? Look at craftsmanship.
Yeah.
Yeah?
What did she say?
So, see that? Look at that. Look,
Looks very warm
beautiful.
too.
It's really,
Is it wool?
It's they don't sell wool unless you really have to spend a lot of money. It's acrylic.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it's very hard to find 100% virgin wool. In Europe, you can find it easily, but not here.
No, bellissima. Bellissima. I noticed.
Beautiful.
Oh, come on, my Italian's not that bad. I know you brought a little doll, a
Yes.
bambola. Tell us about the bambola and how that is part of your knitting.
Well, basically, this is the traditional costume of her hometown in Italy, in southern Italy. So every woman in the town, a paese, would dress in this manner. Right, only her town would dress in this manner.
Oh, okay.
Every little town neighboring has their own traditional costume. It's a beautiful thing. And every family had 2 or 3 people who would do this costume for the whole entire family. Her task was to do everything besides this belt here.
This is beautiful.
Right. Her sister would do this type of work, but she would do all of this. This would be all wool. This is like a belt that's wrapped around numerous times around the waist. Yeah, all this. Yeah. And all this was, like I said earlier, grown or
Produced on the farm?
Produced on the farm, completely. Sheared the sheep for the wool, everything.
Solo questa poi la facciamo meglio, questa si va a larghi da avere,
Right.
buono.
Right. The loom, she would know how to work the loom, all
okay.
that, yeah.
And that's where the knitting and the tradition of just hand working with fiber and textures.
She did it out of necessity, and I'm doing it because of my own necessity to create, to make things.
That's interesting. Which brings me to the next question, Nancy.
Yes.
Do you knit for form or function?
Well, the